Progressive Radio. This is the Dean Obadala Show on SiriusXM Progress 127.
And welcome back, Dean Obadala Show. We're live Wednesday, January 15th, and in studio, my friend, your friend, Elie Mystal, who is now a new contributing writer with the great progressive publication, The Nation. Elie, congratulations on the new gig. Tell us a little bit, before we talk about politics and everything, what's this gig? What are you doing?
So I'm now the justice correspondent at The Nation, which is a badass title.
I like that.
And, you know, one of the reasons why I like it is that a lot of people who have that title or think about that title, you know, they're like, I'm going to go to the courtroom and cover the Harvey Weinstein trial. And I'm not, Harvey Weinstein trial is important,
right.
As long as he goes to jail. But when I see the mandate for justice, I think of it not just in terms of covering the courts and trials and whatever, but to cover really the part of justice that most people feel every day, which is, you know, a cop's foot on your neck, right? It's the law enforcement aspect of justice that is also, I think, very important to my beat and my coverage. And so The Nation apparently is going to let me do that, so I'm very excited about that. And I hear there's like an election coming up.
Yes, that's a big thing. So
I might have some thoughts.
We're going to talk about the debate first. I'm going to talk about party unity, which is a big thing. But you made a point in your article, your new article, and it gives you a sense of what you mean by justice. Tell us a little bit about the fact that there were not minority voices, authentic voices on that stage, and why that matters. Yeah,
like it was so, I mean, obviously on the whole preamble lead up to the debate, people were talking about how it's going to be an all-white debate. And then obviously as it progressed, you really saw the whiteness kind of come through. And where I was most kind of disappointed was that, you know, when you had African-American candidates, when you had candidates of color, they were there not just to promote themselves, but they were the ones who were holding the other candidates accountable and honest for their own racial past, right? So it's not a moderator that gets Joe Biden to talk about busing. It's Kamala Harris, right? It's not a moderator to get Joe Biden to talk about the criminal justice bill that he wrote. It's Cory Booker, right? And so it was their willingness, their exhaustive willingness to keep bringing up issues of import to communities of color, above and beyond what the moderators were willing to do, that you really saw missing, I think, last night. So last night when Buttigieg, first of all, there was only one question on race in the entire, you know, right. And I'm sorry, like, even if there are no black candidates anymore, there's still black voters. Right. Like
especially in the Democratic Party primary. Let's be blunt.
We didn't leave just because Kamala dropped out. But there was one question about race. It was directed at Pete Buttigieg. It was directly, why do you think you have trouble, you know, getting African American voters? And Pete was like, well, the African Americans who know me like me. I mean, he was literally just
who know me best, right?
Who know me best, right? He literally pulled I have black friends card, right? And there was nobody there to call him on it. You know, you can imagine Cory Booker kind of laughing in his face about, you know, you want to swap notes about who has more black friends, Pete? Right. You can imagine Kamala Harris just honing in on the weakness of that answer, but they weren't there to do it, and none of the moderators were willing to do it. And so Pete got to speak for about a minute and a half explaining, and this is a candidate who, let's not forget, in some polls at 0% amongst African. Pete Buttigieg last night was the person explaining how to win over the black vote in the Democratic primary.
And he, in that new Washington Post poll over the weekend, a national poll of black voters, he got 2%. And you're right, if there was someone of color there who wanted to
be clear, I mean, Skeletor would get 2% amongst the black community. I mean, like that's embarrassing at this stage in the game to be considered a top-tier presidential candidate in the Democratic primary and be polling at 2% in a national poll of black people.
To give you an example of what authentic voices from respective minority communities do is that they add an issue that is really important in their community. The mainstream media has ignored or does not care enough to elevate. And before we went on here, we were talking about Joy Reid's show. We both love Joy Reid. Mm-hmm. And you know, I was mentioning like Joy will have me on, and we talked about Bloomberg, and everyone else on the panel was about stop and frisk. And I'm like, I have to talk about this other issue, which is his horrific surveillance of the Muslim community, which was really ultimately unconstitutional. But if I wasn't on that panel, no one would have raised it. The same thing in a debate. Like if Buttigieg said what he did, and Senator Harris or Booker, or if one of them wanted to, they would respond with facts like, well, why is your police force less diverse now? That's all true. Michael Harriot in his great article in The Root pointed out. Or in your time as mayor, you only gave about 2 to 3% of all contracts to minority-owned businesses, yet you have this Douglas plan now. That's what would have happened. I'm not picking on Pete Buttigieg. I'm just saying there is no follow-up. The same way I was on stage at Bloomberg and they asked me a question about stop and frisk. I said, hey, there's another issue. What about the way you treated Muslims? That's the way our voices are important.
It's not just that there are like black and brown issues, right? It's not just that oh, we got to talk about criminal justice reform because we got to talk about black people. It's not like that. It's that there are perspectives that are offered by diverse people that come from diverse experiences that are not there when you erase those experiences. One example from last night, they got into discussion about the free public college.
Right. And
they asked Tom Steyer, do your kids deserve to go to college for free? And Tom Steyer, no, that would be bad. My kids should have to pay for college. Man, Tom Steyer's kids went to Harvard. Nobody's offering Tom Steyer's kids free college. Are you kidding me? Like and that's
you go to Harvard?
Huh? I also
went to Harvard. Transparency.
Yes,
sorry.
we need more Harvard Yale diversity on those. No, like it's the kind of thing where like nobody was talking about Tom Steyer's kids.
But didn't they ask him?
The moderators asked him
right,
directly
said,
as if the plan was talking about Tom Steyer's kids. But the actual plan by Bernie and Warren for free college does not have anything to do with the kids for billionaires who are almost uniformly going to go to private schools. Right, and that is exactly the kind of perspective that, yes, on this particular issue, a progressive could have brought up, but also a person of color who understands that when we're talking about free college, we're talking about public universities and the difference between a public university and a private university for rich people. Those are the perspective that you don't get.
So let's talk about what we've been talking about in earnest for almost 2 hours.
Let them fight.
And you saw the debate. I'm not going to play the clips over. I would play them, but I know you heard them, and I don't want to get people angry who have not heard them. But it's about, Michael, in a sum, I mean, we know what happened. You had Bernie Sanders and Liz Warren battling, and some were taking one side or the other, but unfortunately the response is Never Warren was trending on Twitter. And that upset me because we were too early in this process, and we're too early for me to be silent because I saw what happened in 2016 where the Hillary-Bernie divide built and built and built and festered and festered and festered. And I can't stop it with one show, but I'm not going to sit here and not do anything about it because I know what happened in 2016. Yeah. So we had this discussion about vote blue no matter who, and that I'm going to look to you in a second, don't have the privilege for the perfect candidate. I'm not even trying to get the perfect candidate. My only goal is defeat Trump. I don't care which Democrat defeats Trump. I like some more on policy, but I don't really care. I got to get rid of this guy. And then we are going to push that Democrat, whoever it is, to be more progressive than they are because many of the candidates evolved for the better. They become president. Even Joe Biden evolved on marriage equality as a VP. We can push them. It's about a movement you're electing, not just a person. I mean, what's your reaction to the idea of I'm never going to vote for anyone because I don't like the way they treated my candidate?
Yeah, I have a number of thoughts here. I'll start, as I often do, with my mother. There are as an African American male in this society, there are just too many people who literally died so that I could vote for me not to vote. Like there's too much blood that went into my ability to cast a ballot for whoever, right, for me just to throw it away because I didn't get the warm fuzzies this cycle, right? So like number one, I'm voting no matter what. Number two, as you say, I don't really have the luxury like you of just waiting for the perfect candidate to come along, and if I don't get my perfect person, putting my thumbs in my ears and closing my eyes, all right? I believe that Trump represents an existential threat to the country. I believe he represents an acute threat to communities of color. I believe that his entire administration to this point has borne that out and proven the threat that he is. I believe that a second term of Trump will be even more disastrous, and let's remember, new justice correspondent in the nation.
Exactly.
I care about the courts. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is 86 years old. I don't know if she's going to make it to January 10th, 2021, but she certainly ain't making it to 2025. All right, like you can't play with this stuff. The power of the third branch of government hangs in the balance in this election, and you can't. Any judge nominated by any of the Democrats, I'll even include and it sticks in my throat a little bit, I'll even include Tulsi Gabbard. Any of the judges nominated by any of the people running for the Democratic nomination would be better than any of the judges Trump intends to appoint to fill Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat. That's just a fait accompli. That is a necessary. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, being 86 years old, is a necessary and sufficient condition for me to vote blue no matter who. But the last thing I want to say about the importance of voting in this election and my refusal to get sucked in to the never X, never Y, never Z kind of debate. It's so stupid to think that the future of the country is something that can be thrown away simply because one candidate said something in a debate or in a stump speech that you didn't like. I mean, come on, can we act like adults for a second, right? Like, there is nothing that these people are saying right now that cannot be massaged, changed, improved upon. I happily voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and I thought that she was going to win. And it was going to be great for my career because I was all ready to spend the next 4 years holding Hillary Clinton's feet to the goddamn fire.
Really?
You know, just beating on her, begging her to be more lefty. Right. You know, excoriating her for what I perceived her warmonger-ish, hawkish tendencies, right? I was ready. I was making plans for like how that was going to be great for me because all these other Democrats were going to like toe the line, and I was going to be the Democrat being like, no, Hillary's got to do better.
You would have been on Fox News every week,
right?
Listen to this guy. He comes in here and stuff, and that. But by the way, there was a Washington Post poll over the weekend of black voters, and I love this one. Jumped out at me. 79% of black voters said, it was a national poll, 79% said it important to them personally that Trump not win a second term. Personally, this is beyond politics. It was a very interesting question. That's the way the question was phrased. Does it matter to you personally? Almost 80% said, this is personal.
When Trump won, the day after, I had to write, and I wrote that his election was a repudiation of everything that I stand for personally. Not just, we're talking personally. I'm not talking about professionally. I'm not talking about my policy preferences or my whatever. I am saying that I believe that merit matters, education matters, decency is rewarded, and that pluralism is the promise of this country. And Trump is a big, hawking, crass, ugly rejection of all of that. That 62 or so million Americans in this country could fix their mouths to raise their voices in support of this open, misogynist bigot I took it personally.
Sure.
I take it personally every day. And I will continue to take it personally every day until that man is gone. And I don't just mean gone from the White House. I mean gone.
Just not here.
Not here. In jail somewhere.
That's
okay?
What I'd like.
It's not really ever going to be enough for me that he just loses. He needs to be punished for what he did, what he's done. The people who enable and support him need to be punished for what they've done. Lindsey Graham needs to be punished in some way. I mean, honestly, I am not a particularly spiritual man, but these are the people that make you want to believe in hell, right? Because this is why humans invented hell. Right, so that there is some way to feel like ultimately there will be retribution for people like this. All right. So do I take it personally? Of course I take it personally. I've got 2 kids. I've got 2 brown kids. I've got 2 brown immigrant kids. They have passports because I need to make sure that if we have to get them out, we can get them out quickly. Without having to go to stop by the post office. All right. So Trump affects the entirety of how I feel like I can prosecute my life in this country. As Kamala Harris said, dude gotta go.
So It's interesting you're saying you have a plan to leave the country.
Because Dean, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be on the last train.
Right, I know you told me.
I'm always about the second to last train. Last train is cutting it too close.
It seemed like panic rooms are sort of like white privilege. Like you're going to stay, but let the bad things go past, you'll come out. Your plan's like, I'm leaving the country. Look, to your point though about Trump, and I've made this point, and it's academic, so we can discuss this. It'll be fun here in a way. If Richard Nixon had went to jail and not been pardoned, do you think that would have been a deterrent on someone like Trump? Or if George W. Bush had been convicted of war crimes, do you think that not just impacts Trump, but every president going forward, knowing that, you know what, I might actually go to jail as president, but right now you'd be foolish to think that you could be because no president ever been charged and put in prison for their wrongs.
I think Bush more so than Nixon. I don't think Trump is enough of a student of history or even literate enough to have been able to take anything from that era. I think because just recency bias, Bush might have been given him at least pause before he starts like pushing buttons and assassinating people.
Right.
But one of the problems with Trump is that he's obviously a clinical narcissist, and those people don't believe that they can be caught. So I think even as Trump commits crimes, the knowledge that like crimes are bad and people get in trouble for them would never occur to him, because he doesn't think he's committing crimes, because he thinks that everything he does, I mean, it is that Nixon thing. If the president does it, it's not illegal. Trump has taken that to heart through his entire life. If Trump does it, it is not illegal. And so I don't think there's any way to deter him from acting. There's only a way to stop him and to punish him, right? So I don't care if he knows why he's being punished. he just needs to be punished, right?
All right. And impeachment. Well, let's take a break and let's then pivot to impeachment and what's going on now, and how I don't think Trump remembered, because he's no student of history, how somber and weighty that the impeachment proceeding, at least in the beginning, is going to look like, with a chief justice sitting there and people being sworn in, and it's not going to be the House. There won't be a jacketless Jim Jordan yelling crap out and stuff like that. There might be a Jim Jordan. It seems there's a chance he might pick him, but I think he's going to be required to wear a jacket in the Senate at all times. It's like a mid-level restaurant in the suburbs. Like if you don't have a jacket, we give you a jacket. So let's take a break and come back and chat with Elie Mystal right after this. So look, they have a...
That was
You're listening to the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM's Progress.
And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live here Wednesday, January 15th. I'm chatting with Elie Mystal. We're having an an animated conversation in the break. So there's exclusive reporting, and it goes to our whole thing about party unity, and this just hurts against it. But CNN is doing the breaking news here on this one, saying that the animated discussion after the debate, where, and you can see it now, Elie, the picture, and I was telling people it went viral, where he put his hand out. It seemed like he wanted to shake it, and she didn't want to shake it. But when you watch it, though, it wasn't about not shaking his hand. She was more engaged in making a point. According to the exclusive reporting on CNN, the point she made is, she said to Sanders, "I think you called me a liar on national TV." Close quotes. I'm reading the exact quote off the thing here. And Elie, you had an interesting point in the break. Explain to me. Share with that.
Yeah, I'm sure she's right. I'm sure Bernie Sanders said what Warren says that he said.
In 2018.
In 2018. And I'm sure that Bernie doesn't remember it. I'm sure that Bernie doesn't remember it that way. And I don't think any one of them is lying. I think Warren is right. And the reason why I think that is because I'm a person of color, and I have lived in this white man's country my entire life. And the number of times white people have said something to me and then don't remember saying it the next day, the next hour, is shocking. I remember it. There are comments that I've heard that I remember forever. You know, that I go home and I stew about it, and I turn it over my head over and over and over and over, coming up with just the right response. And then I confront the person later, and the white person's like, "I never said that." I had a situation where somebody said something really awful to me. A friend said something awful to me, and I was shocked, and I didn't know how to handle it. And I we're at a bar. I went to the bathroom. I collected myself. I came out 20 minutes later, ready to, because I'm Elie, I'm ready to engage. And I'm like, man, you just said, I didn't really appreciate what you just said. And my friend straight up looked at my face. I didn't say that. I was like, man, it was 20 minutes ago. I didn't say that. I don't know what you're talking. I didn't say that. You must have heard me wrong. What do you, again, the hubris of you telling me I heard you wrong when you said some racist ass shit. It is a white thing. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't think, I have come to understand that white people are not doing it kind of maliciously.
Right.
It's just that random insults aren't as important to them. When they're giving out the random insult, it's not memorable to them as a thing that they did. Whereas when you are on the receiving end of the insult, it is incredibly memorable,
sure,
and it sits incredibly deep, and you never forget it. So I have no doubt that Sanders said what Warren says he said. I just also believe that Sanders doesn't remember it.
I mean, that's of course possible. And by the way, if you're doubting how much the right loves this, Fox News is actually doing a Fox News alert right now. Post-debate exchange between Bernie and Warren. So they're literally watching CNN do exclusive reporting, and gleefully Tucker Carlson's reporting this because they understand. And I'm not asking people not to be angry if you're a Bernie or Warren support person on this. That's not it. You can be angry, but whatever you want, support whoever you want, fight for whoever you want. It's about unifying later. But the right, the Trumpers, whatever you want to call them, want us to be divided. That is for sure. And we are going to do everything we can to unite once this primary is over. And up until now, it's been pretty decent. There's been some little fighting. This one is now going to day 3, day 4. And I fear that that's the kind of thing that becomes sticky. Like it sticks a little bit. I'm concerned about that.
The other question is, as I think you're right to point out, who actually wants this fight? Who benefits? And it's
doesn't help neither Bernie nor Warren.
It's only the bad people.
Yeah.
Only the bad. Fox benefits. Trump benefits. Biden maybe benefits.
Maybe.
But it's mainly just the bad people that benefit from this fight. So they have every reason to keep the fight going. Even again, and I just put myself on the line and I said that while I totally believe Warren's accounting of events, that's not a reason why I can't vote for Bernie.
Right.
People say hurtful, incorrect, inarticulate things in the course of living all the damn time. And I believe Bernie when he says that certainly he has been a fan and a supporter of women running and believes that women should run and should be in leadership positions. He absolutely is right to point out that he wanted Warren to run in 2016. He's, been a huge supporter of the squad, of AFC. Like, I do not feel like Bernie Sanders is a closeted, deep sexist. We're not talking about Harvey Weinstein. Right.
Or Donald Trump.
Trump.
The View wasn't like, some of the women on The View were like, see, he's a misogynist just like Trump. I mean, to compare Bernie.
Come on. Right?
Come
on.
To, even if, assuming everything's, just assume it's true, that they have a conversation about strategy. They're both knowing they might run against each other. And Liz Warren goes, I think America's ready for a woman this time. And Bernie goes, I'm not sure about that. And bingo, because she's saying, Bernie didn't say to her, you can't win. Bernie didn't say a woman couldn't win. She said, I think a woman can win. And he disagreed. And how that was articulated, I have no idea. What I did, I played the clip earlier. I won't play it again because it's too long. At the very end of Bernie's comment about Liz Warren, where beyond the he said, she said, he said, if she's a nominee or anyone on the stage is a nominee, I'm going to work really hard to defeat Donald Trump and support that person. And that's what I love. Here's all my stuff, but I'm going to vote blue no matter who. And more than that, people who in leadership have to commit to working hard. They have to be a visible example to inspire people, not just saying it. They've got to go and do it. So Bernie has to do that. Or if Bernie wins, Liz has got to go do it. Or if Buttigieg or Biden, I mean, look.
And that's really where that's where this conversation has to go, because I feel like I have so much more faith in the candidates themselves rallying together at this point than I do their supporters.
Do you want to take a call?
Sure.
It's up to you. All right. We'll take a quick call.
I asked for it. Go ahead.
You did here. Okay. Larry in Mississippi. How are you, Larry?
Oh, shit.
What's wrong?
Hey, I'm sorry. I was listening to my car here.
All right. So, no, you had a thing about Elie.
Right.
You invoked Elie's name, so I asked him.
First of all, I want to say, Dean, I'm your Jewish BFF.
All right, great. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate it.
But Elie, I agree with you on some of the things you just said, but something struck me a chord. Okay, I'm a white guy. I travel. I'm in Mississippi. Okay.
You're a Jewish guy in Mississippi. You're not a white guy.
I am a white guy.
But I'm saying your race, but skin color is not minority in this country. It's if you're demonized. Well, we won't get into it. I'll give my whole theory on it.
I agree with you in some respects on that, but I can hide my religion. I can't hide my race.
True. Very true. Right.
So when someone sees me, I'm a white guy.
Right.
And Elie, you said something. I just got to ask you. Do you think all white people lie, like what you thought about Bernie? I hope you don't, because we're all not. I know what you mean. I don't think I don't think it was because he was a white guy that he didn't realize what he said. Because I agree with you. I totally believe that he probably said it in jest to Warren, and this thing is totally blown out of proportion.
I know.
In my opinion.
The media loves this. Oh my God, CNN's running with a whole new story tonight.
But Elie, we're not all like this, and I don't want you to keep the problems we have in this country that are perpetuated by buttholes that are in the White House. We're not all, don't stereotype all of us. We're not all this way. So please don't think that all white people lie just to, because we're white. Okay?
So
I don't think all Palestinians are suicide bombers. I don't think all black people kill other black people. I just want you to know that.
So, Larry. So Larry, but here's the thing though. Sure. I actually didn't say that all white people lie. That literally was not my comment. It's weird to me that you took that from my comment. That wasn't what I said. In fact, I am saying I do not think that Sanders is lying. I think he honestly does not remember saying that. And I'm saying that from my experience, I have met many white people who honestly do not remember saying that thing they just said to me. Right? That's not a lot. Like, lie to me, maybe it's the lawyer in me, but to me, lie requires some intent, right? Some kind of like, I know it's A, I'm going to say B. This is not lying. This is a somewhat honest, misremembering of what the man just said. And the reason why I think this happens predominantly to white people is because the insults that they give out do not register to them as insults as they're coming out of their mouth, right? I think what's a good example? My kid, a lot of times will say like horribly hurtful things, He doesn't know they're hopeful. He's
Right.
7. Right? So he doesn't know that it actually like super hurts my feelings when my kid's like, oh, daddy, you can't win that race against that daddy. You're slow. Like he's just being honest. He's just being accurate. He doesn't know that he just like cut me to the core and made me like renew my gym membership, right? He doesn't get that. He just said a thing. A true, from his perspective, a true thing, and he forgot about it 5 minutes later. Like, that's what I'm saying Bernie Sanders did. He said something that seemed obvious and true to him and forgot about it 5 minutes later, but it stuck in Warren's craw. Warren did not forget
Larry,
it.
you still there? Larry?
Yeah, don't you think this is being blown out of proportion, though?
Oh, my God, yes. Of course. CNN loves this. CNN is now running the next story, so MS is not even picking it up, but Fox picking it up. But the reality is there are some people in the base. My concern earlier in the show was to make sure we're going to disagree now over candidates. That's what the primaries are about, that we're going to remember to unify. We're going to remember who our real focus is, and even engaging with fellow Democrats is a level of civility and respectfulness that we don't. You know, we're so used to fighting Trumpers, I think sometimes we forget that. We just fight to the core.
Well, we have to remember, the goal is to get him out of office.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I agree with you, Larry.
That's the goal.
Exactly.
No matter what.
That's the thesis. Vote blue no matter who.
Look, man,
Larry, my call in LA. I apologize. I don't know. I was listening, and I don't know.
It's all right.
Look,
please don't think we're all like that. But I do agree with you on some of those things. But we're not all like that.
Fair point, Larry. Thanks for the call.
This is, and I think, as you see, Dean, like people are so scared. We all remember what happened in 2016, right? We all remember what happened with Jill Stein voters and Gary Johnson voters and all the voters who stayed home, and we're all terrified that people will find, and it's all being amplified by bots, right? So I heard you say when I was coming in that obviously some of this fight is true,
right?
But some of it is so clearly being amplified by Russians, by bots, by conservative trolls on Fox, like by media people on CNN. Like, there's so many people who want this fight to happen that when Larry says they're blowing it out of proportion, like, it really is the analogy really here is that we have a balloon and somebody keeps pumping air into the thing because they want to see it pop. And it has everybody on edge, and
we know who that is. I mean, it is the media. It's something I'm not bashful to say, even though we're owned by a big media company, but we're not owned by a Comcast or something here, and we have the freedom to say whatever we want. You know, I just interviewed Rick Wilson. You know Rick Wilson.
Yeah.
He has a new book coming out. It'll air tomorrow. But in his book, and we didn't have time in the 25-minute interview to get to it, it's something I've talked about. And he makes it very clear as a Republican pollster. He goes, your enemy in this is not just Trump. It is the media. The mainstream media wants Donald Trump to win. Even those who might be in the middle, even those who might say to your face, they hate Trump. And we're not talking about the anchors that are our friends and stuff like that. We're talking about the executives who the ratings, like for CNN might be third right now. They're having literally double to 3 times the ratings they were having in 2014 and 15 before the primaries happened. So bonuses are big for executives. Stock prices are up. And these are big business. And Rick Wilson was warning us, because Rick Wilson despises Trump right now. Everything he's now is dedicated to with the Lincoln Project, with him and George Conway and others, is to defeat Donald Trump, is warning one of our enemies and one of the people we're going to have to beat is the mainstream media, and to be aware of that and try to go around them, grassroots activism, whatever we have to do, use social media, because they want Trump. There's no doubt about it.
There is no liberal media. There is corporate media.
Exactly.
And corporate media makes bank off of all of this, all of our fear, all of our worry, all of our dissent, all of Trump's tweets, all of his constantly putting the nation on war footing or the brink of war footing. That all redounds to dollars for corporate media. And like I said, I had a plan how to make money if Hillary was president, right? Like I do not see why they're like that, because you can make money in this world off anybody if you are saying insightful things, and if you're telling the truth, and if you're digging deeper, and if you're going for it. Like, journalism does not require having a racist carnival barker in charge. But, nobody listens to me.
We're chatting with Elie Mystal. You know him and love him. Now he's with The Nation, folks, so read his articles there. He's full-time with The Nation. So let's talk about impeachment a little bit. Here is the line that really has pissed off Fox News, so we know it's pissed off Trump. They call it gloating on Fox News tonight. Short clip. Here's clip number 4, please. This was Nancy Pelosi today at the press conference.
The president is not above the law. He will be held accountable. He has been held accountable. He has been impeached. He's been impeached forever. They can never erase that.
They can never erase that. Forever. Ever and ever. I love that kids in history books in the future will learn about this corrupt president and at least some summary of what he had done with trying to get a foreign country to help him win an election. And I like that. At least that might be a cautionary tale somewhere. I'm not sure, but I'm happy with that. Any response?
I mean, what are they angry about?
They call it gloating on Fox News. They said Nancy Pelosi gloating, saying impeachment's forever. It is forever. You can't erase it. He's impeached.
The entire freaking conservative media plan over the past 6 to 8 years has been trolling the libs. They actually give people television contracts and book deals because they are so good at trolling the libs. People are getting rich from trolling the libs, and they're angry because Nancy Pelosi's had a factual statement. There are various foots that I would like to stick up various people's dark sides. Are you kidding me with that? All they do, they have elevated trolling the libs to an art form. It is apparently what allows them, what they use to explain away their bigotry and misogyny and racism. Oh, no, I wasn't actually being sexist. I wasn't actually being racist. I was just trolling the libs. I was just triggering the libs. And now they're angry because Pelosi, no.
That's what they do. All right, so let's talk about, so they appointed the 7 House managers who will be the prosecutors. Adam Schiff is the key. Gerald Nadler, I think most people know him. And then there's Hakeem Jeffries, many know him. Zoe Lofgren from California, Val Demings, Jason Crow of Colorado, and Sylvia Garcia. We've been trying to get Val. We almost had her on like 2 weeks ago. Now we're never going to get her on. Now she's the House manager. We've been trying for a while. She's a former chief of police.
Val's going to run against Rubio, isn't she?
Really? Oh, that'd be so great. Oh, that'd be great.
She's got to now,
She's
right?
a former chief of police, so she's great on this team. I think it's just great to see this. But Pelosi said about the House managers today why she picked them. Let's play clip number 5, Nina, please.
As you can see from these descriptions, the emphasis is on litigators. The emphasis is on comfort level in the courtroom. The emphasis is making the strongest possible case to protect and defend our Constitution, to seek the truth for the American people.
That panic sound you heard was Trump after those words. That was really good stuff. Like they're comfortable in the court. They're litigators. They're mostly not all former federal prosecutors.
I thought one of the most important things that she said is that Trump isn't. It's not just Trump who's on trial, but the Senate's on trial now.
Yes.
Right. This team shows that Pelosi thinks and expects that there will be witnesses. She has picked people to question said witnesses. She didn't pick people who are great at grandstanding and making speeches. I thought, if you look at, and I'm not saying this to denigrate anybody in any way, but an Eric Swalwell.
I thought they would pick him.
I think that's who you go for if you think this is going to be a lot of speech making. Swalwell is great at speech making, right? I think when you pick the Army Ranger guy.
Oh, Jason Crow?
Yeah, the JAG officer. You're thinking about this in a courtrum kind of context.
I took to Ted Lieu. I said, I wish she would have just picked the squad just to drive them crazy. Like AOC, Rashida Tlaib. Imagine it would be Trump. Fox News would have exploded. It would have been like the fire department would have been called there. People would have been just yelling, throwing themselves at windows.
I thought that would have been. It would have been, again, if you wanted to just if you thought that there was this. I'm reading many tea leaves here, but if you thought this was just going to be a fait accompli, the Senate's just going to rubber stamp whatever, and you just want to make it look as bad for them as possible while they're doing it, then you do pick AOC, then you do pick Rashida Tlaib, then you do just go in there, you do pick Katie Porter, you just go in with your guns blazing, right? If you think there's going to be a thing, if you think there's going to be a trial, you pick Crow and Demings and people who have like actual litigation, courtroom cross-examination experience. And so she's at least indicating that is the direction she wants this to go, and perhaps she's indicating that this is the direction she thinks it actually will go.
And today, Gerald Nadler on the floor made a really important point that doesn't get covered a lot. All of our discussions, and even on this show, has been about witnesses. He made a great point to remind people it's about documents as well. So let's hear clip number 6, please. This is Jerry Nadler on the floor today.
And then he violated the Constitution by stonewalling Congress's efforts to investigate, ordering an absolute blockade of evidence. Despite that, the House was able to uncover powerful evidence that demonstrates beyond doubt the president's betrayal and violations of the Constitution. But we still have not heard the whole truth because the president has refused to allow a single document to be turned over to the House in response to our impeachment subpoenas. And he has prevented us from hearing key witnesses as well. This is unprecedented. Our Speaker has led our fight for a fair trial in the Senate. Above all, a fair trial must include additional documents and all relevant witnesses. The American people have common sense. They know that any trial that does not allow witnesses is not a trial. It is a cover-up.
And that's their point. But I love the point he made. Did you hear that? Not one single document. Every subpoena they blocked. The Trump administration did not allow even one document to come over. So it's not just witnesses. There's documents they want as well. Trump has really obstructed Congress. It's great he got impeached for that.
One thing for your listeners who occasionally find themselves engaging with idiot Republicans on Twitter, one tactic that I've used, please feel free, guys, to take this and use it at your own leisure. Always bring these Republicans back to what the hell is Trump hiding? Literally any of these things that the House has asked for, if Trump was telling the truth, should exonerate or exculpate him. If Trump did nothing wrong, he should want Mick Mulvaney singing it from the rooftops. He should want his national security advisor John Bolton to come out strongly in his defense. He should want his the national security attorney, I forget his name right now,
John
Eisenberg, to come out for his defense. Right, like he should want to turn over all of his documents because if he's telling the truth, they should all show that he didn't do anything. Now,
what do they usually say in response? Because this is a very common sense argument. Everyone understands it. If you're on trial, you want to produce witnesses or documents that help you. You don't want witnesses or documents that hurt you. That's why Trump is preventing these people. They don't help him. They hurt him.
And look, even as I say that, look, again, the lawyer in me, like, it's just like, oh, Elie, be careful. Because no, there is all. I come at it from a defense side. I am not for the overproduction of documents, right? You want to give the prosecution what they asked for and not one, page more. But we're not talking about the overproduction of documents here. We're talking about the transmission of legally required documents. He is blocking subpoenas. He's not defeating subpoenas. He's ignoring them. All right, that's a whole different level of obstruction, and certainly if this president thought that there were documents or witnesses that could help him, those people would be made available already.
There's no doubt. Let's take a quick break. Come back with more of Elie Mystal right here on the Dean Obeidallah Show.
Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress 127. Dean Obadala Show on Sirius XM Progress 127.
And welcome back, Dean Obadala Show. Elie Mystal is here, lawyer and now contributing Justice Report. He's the Justice Reporter for The Nation, a great liberal publication. Is Katrina the head of it there? Is she the editor-in-chief?
Yeah, she's not. Don Gutplan is the new editor-in-chief. Katrina has taken a step back from day-to-day operations, but she's still around. I've met her. She's
Is
pretty cool.
Joan Walsh still a writer?
Yeah, she's around. We text sometimes and we live blog together.
Really?
She's very funny.
I like Joan. Now, she comes on the show sometimes. She's really busy, and you know her from MS probably, or from CNN.
I read her on The Nation. I
Okay.
didn't meet her until I started working with them.
So overall, when you look back at Speaker Pelosi doing what was really a bold and daring thing, was to hold these articles of impeachment for, I think, almost a month right now. And Trump went crazy and there were all these bizarre theories. He's not really impeached and all that. At the end of the day, now they're turned over. Was it the right move? Was there benefits that are tangible?
I pride myself on, like any educated person, I pride myself from being able to learn from my successes and to be able to learn from my mistakes. My days of criticizing Speaker Pelosi are over, right? I was highly critical of the way that she handled the Mueller investigation. I was highly critical of the way that when she came out with, I think I was on your show during the week where she came out with the Trump will self-impeach. And you and I, we went nuts.
Yep.
I was unhappy.
I remember that.
With that. And you know what? Turns out, little man, we need to take a step back and let the lady handle her business, because that's what happened. The man self-impeached. And she was exactly right, and she has been playing this idiot like a fiddle, and I will not continue to be stupid by by saying negative things about how she's handling it. Therefore, so once look, I'm being a little bit jokey, but like, it's important when you think about the point of this delay, because if you start just giving her the benefit of the doubt and you kind of look at it through the lens of like, well, what did she accomplish? Well, a couple of things. First of all, impeachment is still going on.
Right.
If she had done it a month ago, they might have buried it over Christmas, without anybody noticing, right? So, like, number one, we still have an impeachment trial to go through. Two, it is absolutely clear that the delay gave people in the Senate more time to work on the Romneys and Murkowskis and Collins and Lamar Alexander to start building momentum towards having witnesses. There were not 51 votes in the Senate to have witnesses a month ago. It looks like we might be there now, right? So that if she got that was the whole enchilada. That was the hugest win. I thought, until the Parnas documents dropped, and it turns out that while this delay has been happening for a month, investigations have been ongoing, documents have been being produced, witnesses have been, so obviously there is a lot going on that we can't fully see, but she can see all of it. She understands. She is playing with the whole keyboard, and I'm over here playing chopsticks, like ding, 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 ding.
Oh,
when are we gonna get him? She's out here with the whole keyboard at her disposal. No more criticisms of Nancy Pelosi from me. Thank you very much.
And I even wrote an article for, I think, NBC News Think about, I was wrong and so many of us were wrong, and I apologize, and she was right. And in fact, if people were wondering, we had Congressman Lieu on earlier, but if people were wondering, is this new evidence allowed to be submitted to the Senate? And Congressman Lieu said, yes, I want to play Gerald Nadler on the floor, making it clear in the resolution they passed today, yes, they can give new evidence that was not part of the articles of impeachment. Let's play clip number 7. It's a short clip of Nadler today.
Just yesterday, we received critical new evidence from the president's former associate, Lev Parnas, that further proves Mr. Trump's scheme to pressure Ukraine to go after his personal political opponents. New witness testimony has become available as well, including John Bolton's announcement that he would honor a Senate subpoena. Under today's resolution, the managers also have broad authority to submit to the Senate any additional evidence the House may acquire on its own, and we will do so.
So, I mean, Adam Schiff was on Wolf Blitzer earlier saying we have a ton more documents. I think he used the term crap ton. No, he didn't say that. He said a ton more that they're still going through. So I'm glad in their resolution, they're thinking of everything. I have to be honest. Well, when we mock them, the leadership, they're doing on this great, fabulous job.
They are doing everything they can. They are doing everything they can. If Trump is acquitted, that will be the millstone around Mitch McConnell's neck. That will not be the Democrats fumbled the ball. That will be the Republicans carried the water.
1 minute till we take a break. The one thing we know for sure, we can't control anything, but there will be House opening statements by these leading Democrats, Adam Schiff taking the lead. What do you think their focus should be? Because that might be the only thing America sees, or even if it goes on, that they actually pay attention to. What do you think the focus should be?
I mean, the actual crime is a simple story. So I don't think they should focus on that. The focus, I think, should be on whether or not there is enough courage and strength in the Senate to do what must be done.
Interesting. All right, let's take
I think you got to put it right on the senators.
And that's a good way of putting it, and why you need these witnesses. And also, I also think that there's all these people we want to hear from, but the only reason we didn't, because the defendant blocked them, and keep saying it over. And the defendant blocked the documents, and now it's up to the Senate to give us this stuff. So the American public who hasn't paid attention go like, wow, the defendant blocked it? That's kind of shady. Let's take a break, come right back with more of the Dean Obeidallah Show, and our friend Elie Mystal.
Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress 127. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show, exclusively on Sirius XM's Progress.
So my wife talked me out of this one.
And welcome back to the Obeidallah Show, live Wednesday, January 15th. Elie Mystal is here, but guess who else? John Fugelsang, the host of Tell Me Everything with John Fugelsang. Hey, Johnny, what's going on?
Good evening, Dean. Pleasure to see you. Thank you.
Did you see the pomp and circumstance of bringing over the articles of impeachment? And do you think that Donald Trump, I'm not joking, had any sense of the gravitas and the weight of what's going to happen in the trial in the Senate? It's going to be
listen,
serious.
I only like impeachment for the articles.
So, by the way, we got only about a minute left. Who's on your show tonight, John?
Supporting Donald Trump is completely inconsistent with the teachings of Jesus if you believe in the Bible, and we're going to break it down with the Reverend Barry Lynn, former director of Americans United for Separation of Church and State, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees with Kevin Bartini, and everything else, including Trump's batshit rally with our panel of comedians, including Keith Price.
That's a great lineup. Keith Price, I know him. He DM'd me. He wants to come on my show. I'm going to steal him.
He's brilliant.
Elie Mystal, thank you, my friend, for coming in. It's great to see you. Congratulations. He's now
I'm just here to mac on Elie to come on my show.
He's now the new justice reporter for the nation. So congratulations on that.
He gets to stay batshit?
You can say whatever you want.
I should have told you.
Does
this mean we might be on a nation cruise together?
John Fugelsang.